the stories that we tell ourselves and what has to be true in order to maintain that narrative. A lot of the time we focus on behavior, toxic patterns, whatever, as sort of the root of our dissatisfaction. But it's a lot deeper than that, and there's underlying narratives that really drive why we are the way we are and why we do the things that we do. And it also impacts how we see the world. If something is true for us internally, then we look around the world to seek confirmation and to find that confirmation, and making other things have to be true to reinforce it.
I love that video and the one that she stitched. So I'm going to link both of them. Okay, so I call this realization like my Inception moment. Now, okay, by the way, I have some problems with that movie now, but it changed my life at the moment, because what I got out of the movie Inception, and if you haven't seen it, it doesn't matter, is, is that an idea can change your whole life, a belief system. And so what I realized, I watched that movie like 4 times in the theater. It was like 3 hours long or something. And I never looked at my phone either. And that is how I always know it's a really good movie. And I realized that I needed an inception, because I was starting to see that the root of all my problems was this core belief that I'm like broken, or I'm damaged, there's something wrong with me, right? And that I need to be fixed. I mean, I'm always growing and evolving. And I started to realize that all of my dating experiences were based on that belief. That, that there was something wrong with me, and that I just didn't deserve anything good. And so I was really, I was such a masochist, y'all. I slept on the floor. I was constantly putting myself in situations that I could survive in. I've talked about this before, in the wilderness and climbing and stuff like that. And a lot of that was very empowering, but a lot of it was just straight up masochistic. And I thought I really deserved to suffer. And even when I lived with one of my best friends, we lived in our trucks and we're traveling, following the work from New Mexico to California, back and forth. But in the wintertime, we'd actually have to live in an actual home during the ski season. It's too cold. And she was the one, I talk about her all the time, Liz. She was the one that made me realize that her and I operate on a different belief system. Because when we moved into the room, I literally had everything in milk crates that I just took everything out of the back of my truck and put it in the corner of the room. And I was done. Whereas Liz, she decorated the whole room. She cut out, she didn't spend any money either. She used old magazines and cut out photos. Maybe she bought some Christmas lights, but that's it. And her room was magical. It was the most comfortable little place to be in. And you go in mine and it's, milk crates full of books, canned beans, my camping gear, my climbing gear, all that stuff. Cold, no lamp, a overhead light, set of lamps, just a very hostile environment. And she was like, "Aren't you going to decorate your room?" And I'm like, "Why? We're just going to move out." And she's like, "Yeah, but that's 4 months from now. Don't you want to be comfortable?" And I was like, "Nah." And I would get these little insights into my belief system that I just needed to suffer. I needed to prove how tough I was and all those other things. But at the end of the day, it really came down to me thinking that there's something wrong with me. And that it made me very uncomfortable to be comfortable. I was very comfortable with discomfort. And so I think at the age of 32, I bought my first bed, mattress. I bought it used, of course. God forbid I actually buy something new ever. I never cooked for myself. I never, I wanted to suffer. And it wasn't until I saw Inception where I was like, holy crap. Maybe this is all stemming from this belief system that I don't like anymore. I don't want to feel like there's something wrong with me. I don't want to keep reflecting this belief system by choosing, I didn't really date for most of my adult life. But on the rare occasion that I got involved with anybody, it was like a hate fork, one night stand. It was never good. It was always like something just gross. And so thank God I wasn't dating during most of my 20s and 30s, because I probably wouldn't be alive right now if I had. I couldn't figure out why I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then I had some memories of childhood essay, and it all started to make sense about how I just like, I don't know, I started to connect a lot of the dots. And one of my like doctor people who was helping me with like giardia and all this crap, because I got giardia from falling out of my boat and swallowing river water, and I was like very sick for like 5 years. And he just said to me one day, he was like, "You've got a script that you've written for yourself that's really messed up. Time to throw that one out and write yourself a new script. Like, I don't know whose screenplay this is, but it's messed up. Time to write a new one." And I was like, dang, okay, so how do I become somebody who values herself? Because I literally never went to the doctor. I did not take care of myself. I never bought myself anything. I ate like canned beans every night or power bars. Like, I really just didn't know how to nurture myself. And so I started doing things that reinforced the story that I wanted to believe, so that I would eventually believe it. And so and The Artist's Way really helped with this. If you've never read that book by Julia Cameron, it's a really great place to start. Where it was like, every once in a while I'd like buy myself flowers, and I would make myself a meal. And I just started to try to treat myself the way somebody who respected herself would. I was like, wait, what would someone who respects themselves do? They cook themselves dinner. Yeah, that's what they would do. Because I just didn't know how to parent myself. All I knew how to do was like struggle, And I constantly put myself in really unsafe situations, so that I was in constant fear and survival mode, sleeping in very dangerous places, like staying with men that were not safe, just again and again and again. And so that became my new like North Star. Is like, the new North Star was, I'm not broken. Or it wasn't like a negative. It was like, someone who values themselves would. So with everything, someone who really values herself would not chase after this guy. Someone who values herself would, go to sleep at a decent hour. Now, this has been years of work. And I still stay up too late, don't take care of I'm doing this while I'm sick. But I'm feeling a little better right now, so I'm kind of riding the wave. But I really started to realize like how much of that, it's not just about your behavior. It is deep. And whenever I started to and I resist it, when I got these photos done for that photo shoot a while ago, I was crying so much, man. I was like, I don't know, I don't want to do this. It's actually painful to break out of these patterns. These belief systems are so deep. They're so deep. What? He's overly attached to me, more than usual because I'm sick. It's still in my default to choose like the worst seat or somewhere, or to like just be to be uncomfortable, to suffer. And I have to force myself not to. And so first it started with my home, having like a nice, like decorating wherever I lived, just making it feel comfortable. That was like my first thing. A bed, not on the floor, not a mattress on the floor, a real bed. Because I would literally just like not even sleep on a mattress on the floor. I'd sleep on like a camping mat, whatever. And then it was about trying to cook myself. And then it went into like other things. And then it spread to my dating life, where I stopped dating men based on hating myself instead of like, what would a woman who values herself do? Well, she wouldn't text this guy back. But man, this is like, it's so hard to unlearn these thoughts, y'all. Ugh.